Hello, everybody. Let's welcome you first, I guess, to completely off topic and straight to the point, which is also backwards, but I don't need to get titles right. You know who I am by now, and you know how I work. But today I have somebody that works differently than that. He might even be bothered by it, I guess, that I just messed up the name of my title. But this is Derek Paradis. He's an Ink Master superfan and blogger. He's on the autistic spectrum. He would love to be a coach one day, and he's a fan of game shows. Is that correct?
That's correct. Wheel of Fortune and The Price is Right and Jeopardy.
I was wondering, I was going to ask if you're a fan of Jeopardy.
How do you do when you... I think I would do way better at Wheel of Fortune than Jeopardy because I like word puzzles and I'd like to go on there someday.
Have you auditioned or tried out?
No, that's the thing. I'm from Toronto, Canada, and that's kind of the issue.
You have no plans to go to with films in California, is that right?
Not right now, not with the circumstances with the pandemic and all that.
Oh yeah, you're up there in Canada where people don't like to get sick. So you guys don't like to come down across the border. We love to get sick down here. So we don't even pay attention to the numbers. I apologize. See, I didn't even know we were in a pandemic. I guess the sarcasm's lost on you sometimes.
It's okay. We got crazy people up on our side too.
Right on. Yeah, I'm from Canada myself. Actually, I'm not. But my father was from British Columbia in Vancouver, and he never renounced his citizenship, so I do have dual citizenship to Canada.
Oh, sweet.
I think so. I like it. It gives me a, escape from some of the traps of patriotism. Well, I just realized I wrote a bunch of questions down on my phone, and if I look at them, I will not be able to talk to you. So that was pretty foolish of me. Thankfully, I texted to my wife, and she left her phone right here, and so I can get into it real quick, and I can look at. Hey, who's this? Who's this Derek you're talking with, Candy? You ain't supposed to be talking to no guy. Oh, it's you, Derek. I'm kidding. I appreciate you getting that, man. I thought she had a new boyfriend. So you do blog, that's right?
Yeah.
And you blog about Ink Masters or all different topics?
Mostly Ink Master. Sometimes they're a little different.
Different how?
Well, if I give my family a birthday shout out on Instagram or Facebook or anything that sparks my interest.
Good. All right. So it's not, I almost feel bad because as I'm looking at you and studying all this stuff, I always figured that you're fans of all kinds of different shows, but you really don't post much besides Ink Master. No Drew Carey birthday updates?
I think with those kind of people, they kind of rely on other people to handle their social media.
Oh, you're doing it almost like a public service then for all of us.
Yeah, I don't know every competitor's birthday per se, but most of them.
You don't know these off the top of your head, do you? Like you don't know my birthday. You have to.
November 29.
Holy poo! All right. Well, there we have it. Yeah, because there's like 130 of us by now. How many Ink Masters are there? You probably know better than me. Do you know how many there are?
If we include the duos from seasons 9 and 11, I'd say 14. And I think
there's been 14 seasons.
Oh no, there's 13 seasons, but there's been 14 winners.
Okay.
DJ and Bubba from season 9, Josh and DJ season 10, and Clean and Tony from season 11.
And how many Ink Master contestants all total? Do you know the number there?
I think I'd have to put that on a calculator.
Okay. It's a lot.
Well, let's see. So there were 10 to start in season 1, then 16 for seasons 2 and 3, 17 for season 4, 18 for seasons 5 and 6, 16
Listen
for
to you.
season 7, 30 for
Yes.
season 8,
I'm acting like I'm just saying yes because I'm acting like I remember these numbers
18,
myself.
18 shops with 2 people each, so that's 36. Season 10
Right.
had 24. Season 11 had 22. Season 12 had 18. Season 13 had 20.
Oh my God. That's impressive, Derek. That's extremely impressive. So you are a super fan. You've just proven it.
Yeah, I have a super fan video on YouTube, which was released in late September 2019.
Where can we go and see this? It's on YouTube, but what would it be under? Like, what's the title we should
It's called
search?
Ink Master Superfan Derek Parody at the finale, A Day in the Life.
And Derek Parody is spelled with an S at the end, correct?
Yes.
Is that French?
Yeah, and Italian.
Okay. I was wondering how we got rid of the S, because I've almost only known you. I've never heard your last name pronounced before I watched your video, the one we were just talking about, the Ink Master Superfan video of Derek Parody, and I thought it was Paradise the whole time. I've been calling you Derek Paradise.
It's okay. When I was in high school, people called my last name Paradise almost every single time.
It's never a problem, I guess, when the girls call you Paradise. You can just play it off like,
No, it wouldn't be a problem at all.
Damn straight, girl. Speaking of girls, guys, I guess we never know where anybody's swinging from. I don't know if I can even say what I can say sometimes. But let me ask you about significant others in your life. Do you have any?
Not at the moment, although I did have one over the summer and the fall last year, but that's all said and done.
It can be tough.
Yeah.
Or so I learned. Do you watch any other reality shows besides game shows?
Well, I've had a habit for watching Bar Rescue.
I like that show.
They're starting a new season actually next month.
They still got Tafferty to yell at everybody.
Yeah, his verbal thunder shower is pretty famous.
Verbal thunder shower. Okay. I like it. His verbal thunder shower. Did someone else moniker it that? Who named that?
I'm pretty sure I said that.
That's awesome. Right on. Well, I'm going to try and use it in the future. I apologize, but I'm a thief for that kind of stuff. If I ever see anybody have a verbal thunder shower, now I know what it is. I'll know what to look for. It looks like John Tafferty. That guy is having a verbal thunder shower. The reason I ask about other shows is I have a love of watching Love on the Spectrum, which is a dating show with autistic, well, they're not contestants, but autistic children dating and finding love. And it's no end of interest to me. Have you seen this or heard of this?
No.
Oh, right on. All right. Well, then nothing to talk about here. I'm sorry. I'm from I obviously is from somebody who's not autistic. Our understanding of people on the spectrum is pretty ignorant at times. I mean, we just don't understand. Simply like you maybe don't understand certain social cues, we don't understand your lack of social cues, and it's an equal ignorance. But watching Dating on the Spectrum really, it shows some of the real complexities of dating, of course, just for regular people, but how that's amplified on the autistic spectrum. But either way, let me go back here. Sorry. My phone keeps shutting off on me, and I did have some questions. Can you get some more creamer? Oh no, I'm looking at my wife's phone. That's the other text I sent for the shopping list.
You must be a Seinfeld fan.
How do you figure?
Well, Cosmo Kramer is a character on Seinfeld.
Oh no, I was asking for coffee creamer.
Well, from what I heard, it sounded like you said Kramer.
I got you. No, that's my Michigan accent. We don't pronounce things right sometimes. When is your birthday, Derek?
March 5, 3 weeks.
And how many ink masters have wished you birthdays in the past? Speaking of that candy, remind me to wish Derek a birthday in May 5th. May 5th, you said, right?
March 5.
Oh man, I'm bad at these things. I apologize. My mind is not good for dates or numbers or all the things that you are good at. You're like almost a mirror image of me. You're probably calm and collected too when you get in arguments, huh?
Occasionally.
Or moreover, you probably don't find yourself in arguments, do you?
Hey, I go off my own world 24/7.
Right on. You've watched every Ink Master episode ever, I'm betting. You've watched all the spin-offs too?
Yep, like, Angels and Grudge Match and Redemption.
Out of all of the Ink Master, have you watched any of the Norwegian Ink Master that they have?
Not really familiar with that one.
Okay. I've heard it was bad. I was going to ask for your comparison. I've heard that it's not the same format, not the same people, and a poor version of what we have here. But you have a tattoo, or you have more now?
I have 3.
Oh, good on you. I see the one in the extremely painful bicep area.
Yeah, where are your other two? That's my outer space autism awareness tattoo. I got it from an artist in London, Ontario.
Have you been tattooed by any of the Ink Masters yet? Or contestants, I should say.
Yes, I have. I recently got tattooed in September 2021 by Angel Rose from seasons 11 and 13. It's a mashup. So I have a black and gray compass rose, which represents Ink Master, a maple leaf and star in the center, realism, to represent both of our countries, and 4 colorful illustrated puzzle pieces to represent autism. Purple in the north or the Midwest, green in the east, orange in the south, and yellow in the west. Why
do the colors change from depending on the? Oh wait, that's because in the direction of the compass.
Yeah, and also This was a commemoration for season 13 Turf War, based on the team colors.
Oh wow! Right. Which was your favorite season? Wasn't it something like that, 13 or something?
12. Battle of the Sexes.
Okay. Why was that one? Why would that one interest you?
Because it showed women are just as much of a threat in the community as men. And seeing a girl win the title of Ink Master when I went to Las Vegas in person, that was quite an amazing experience.
Right on. You said one other tattoo that we didn't talk about. I'm sorry, I wanted to go back though because I wanted to know more about them.
It's also autism puzzle pieces, but it's in watercolor.
You say that like you didn't like you're like, oh, it's in watercolor. Sorry. You would rather it wasn't in watercolor?
It is in watercolor.
Oh, I thought you said it like you weren't as proud of it because it was in watercolor.
No, I'm happy with all my tattoos. Oh, okay. And actually, I'm getting my 4th this summer from an Ink Master Angel.
Who's tattooing you?
Gia Rose from season 8.
Oh, awesome.
Assuming restrictions are lifted, because...
Yeah, there's not a lot of travel right now. Where were you going to get it tattooed at? You going to go to where she's at? You're going to go to...
No. Where are you going to get... She's coming to Toronto.
Oh, right on. Is there a tattoo convention up there? She's just coming up to see you.
Yeah, we have a tattoo convention in Toronto called the Northern Ink Exposure, which happens usually mid-June.
We went to one up there in Toronto not too long ago. Villain Arts had on, but I don't believe that I saw you there. I don't know if I don't think it was the same one. Villain Arts teamed up with somebody. That's the crew that we usually travel with. What's your favorite style of tattoos? You like so many artists. It seems like you would. It might be tough.
I like color and black and gray. The only thing that I hate are tramp stamps, tribal, and relationship names.
Perfect. That's yes. You and me alike. I think every artist can agree with you
Let's
there.
not forget, season 4, you had to adapt and cover up a failed relationship name, and you did that cherry blossom tree on
Oh, thank you.
the
Well,
girls'
yeah.
the girls' under parts.
Yeah, we had to get in close and personal. It was one of those. She actually had a story. She was kidnapped by the guy that she used to have that name there. She was kidnapped along with her 1-year-old son and driven on a high-speed chase at gunpoint around New Jersey. And that was one of the reasons I really wanted to create that cover up to look like it was never a cover up, like it was just part of the tattoo. But yes, I did, and that's exactly the reason we shouldn't put our loved ones' names on us. Is I think it actually changes the relationship. I think it dooms the relationship by changing the power dynamic that exists inside of the relationship. You got to do a lot for somebody that doesn't have your name stamped all over them. But once you get their name stamped on them, you don't have to do the same to keep them, and that changes appreciation levels, and then the power structure's messed up, and then they break up.
Yeah.
Perfect answer. Yes, I'm sorry to
like, unless you're absolutely committed to the relationship, there's really no point.
Yes. Well, even then, I'm sorry to bring it to people's attention that it's probably almost always a bad idea. But even if you're committed to the relationship, people use the name as a test to the level of commitment of their loved one. And it's, those tests aren't good. That kind of a test, at least, it lasts too long.
Yeah.
Causes rifts. You ever been to any Jane's Addiction shows? Jane's Addiction, the band.
Okay. No.
How do you like Jane's Addiction? You like music yourself?
I like music, a little bit of a mix, pop, rock, and rap and country.
And Jane's Addiction falls in there somewhere. I don't know what they would be considered. A subgenre, I guess. You haven't, what do you think of them?
Well, I'm not really familiar with their music, so I wouldn't know.
Okay, right on. Well, David Navarro is the guitarist from. They were influential on my life, actually. I liked them quite a lot, but they weren't very popular. And what do you think about racist Ollie? You've met Ollie. How do you take this news?
He was in my Superfan video.
How do you take this news that he was dressing in blackface for 9 years?
It kind of came as a shock, and honestly, I don't think he meant to do it in a bad way. It was just an unfortunate controversy that, had consequences, and, I'm sure they'll find a third judge once filming starts rolling again, but I did meet him in person.
Oh, and are they?
He was in my Superfan video too, him and Chris Nunez.
Are they planning, that you know of them, they are planning on filming again?
Yeah, Arlene from Turf War gave me an article saying that they were going to continue more seasons on Paramount Plus.
Who do you think they should have as a judge? Obviously, I vote you, but barring yourself, you should be a judge for sure. I guarantee you should be a judge. But barring you,
that would be nice. That would be nice.
I read that you wanted to be a coach. That would be like a step up, wouldn't it? Even better than coach. Yeah,
I mean, I've had dreams of being an Ink Master coach since season 8, because I figured, if the judges created a new Ink Master winner, why not a super fan?
Yeah, and the super fan who is as knowledgeable of tattoos as Ink Masters taught you. Like your all the knowledge that has ever been disseminated on Ink Master is stuck somewhere bouncing around inside of your brain. And so you would be perfect in many cases to actually tell people no, like this, even without your own technical practice of it. I personally believe that I would be in good hands to listen to you as a coach. However, but let's talk about you being a judge. Would you be able to stand up there and deliver the Ollie commentaries? Would you be able to tell people it looks bad when it looked bad?
Well, they do have to walk around with it for the rest of their life unless they can afford laser surgery.
Yeah. Well, it's not laser surgery, just a laser. But lasers still cost.
Yeah.
But luckily, it doesn't have to be performed by a high-end doctor. It's performed by a technician, so it's a little cheaper that way. I think they're doing it around here for like as little as 150 for a session. I don't know how long a session is, but because I recommend that all the time to people now. Someone just they sent in a picture of their chest that somebody put this horrible big black blob in the middle of, and they said, "Can you fix this?" And I said, "Yes, with a laser. I can fix that." So who do you think, former contestants, can you think probably which should be winners really, but even not winners, I guess, who would you want to see as a judge to replace Oliver?
Well, I've had opinions of Creepy Jason from season 12 or even Cruzman, the winner from season 6. I've seen him win in person in New York, Master versus Apprentice, and you would know that because we met outside in the lineup.
Yeah, it was the first time I met you. It was when Cruzman won that night. We got to see him even throughout the night. That was a fun night, actually.
The next morning, he was wearing sunglasses to protect himself because I'm sure he was really hungover.
He'd been up late. He won, so yeah, I guess you party, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think he really drank much, though. He didn't appear to be drunk when I seen him, and we kind of winded the end down of the night down together at that Coney Island that was right near there. Well, you guys don't call it. What do you guys? The little restaurant. There's the diner, I guess it would be called. Here in Michigan, we call everything Coney.
You went to Coney Island for season 3. Accuracy, the eyelids.
Yes. And then I messed up and did the worst portrait ever done. Well, I don't know. Dave Cruzman did a pretty bad portrait, but the worst portrait ever done. But it was also the most accurate for the day. But
well, they did do senior portrait challenge in Turf War.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
That was a bad idea.
Elimination.
Never do a senior portrait. There's no reason to portrait an old person. There's no don't.
Much less a toddler or kid portrait.
Well, I like toddler and kid portraits. They're always fresh. They give a good emotional feel to the viewer. But any portrait of an old person seems depressing and sad. And that person had a vibrant life. And at one point they had a beautiful picture taken, and you should find that and you should put it on them instead.
Oh, your canvas at that finale, she confronted him in the audience like, "You're a dick."
Yeah. Now, I'm more angry at the producers who said this was a good idea and then demanded that I do the picture of an 80-year-old person on a 63-year-old person's arm. I had no other choice, and I didn't think that was right because I knew that she had a wedding photo that was already black and gray and soft filter, or that she had a graduation photo somewhere, that would also be as properly. Those two things definitely exist in this woman's life somewhere, and they could have brought them to me, but they really wanted to make sure that there were these old people there in the tattoos. I don't know if they wanted to see me change it, but it was hard to be up against the idea of accuracy, and then changing the tattoo in any way seemed like it wasn't going to be accurate. Oh well, I'm not sore about it.
Yeah, and the other time you went to Coney Island, Consistency season 4, you guys were tattooing identical twins.
Yes, actually,
Halo and King you, Halo, and King Rock were a team. King Rock did the drawing. You and Halo did the tattooing. I think it was owls.
It's so amazing that you know all this. I almost forgot about going there because actually, when we went to Coney Island, of course, both of the times we tattooed, and I'm doing air quotes for quotation marks, on Coney Island, we were not in Coney Island. We actually tattooed in New Jersey in the same place we tattooed everybody every single time. We simply took a bus ride out to the Coney Island. They took video of us walking into a building and we walked around, and then we went back to the warehouse and filmed the rest of it.
Yeah, I know the studio takes place in New Jersey.
Yes, sir.
Even though they film, a lot of New York skylines and bridges and.
Yeah, they want to give you that impression that we're out there, but they're too cheap to pay for the housing. 16 people in New York City would cost a lot, not to mention all the producers and the runners and everybody that's got to get food and all those, people help out, the cameramen, the editor, all those people. They would have to, I mean, it would be thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars for every month they'd be open. So what do you think went wrong with any of the spinoffs? Because none of the spinoffs have lasted, right?
Like any of the spinoffs, Redemption, Angels, or Grudge Match?
Yes, sir.
I don't think any. Hold on, let me just word this out. I think in Redemption, I think maybe the drama was a little too extreme, just because, you might have gotten off on the wrong foot with the canvas, at the time, and you want to make it right, and they want to give you a second chance, but sometimes it just doesn't go that way. Most of the time the artist got a second chance, and some kind of walked out.
Oh, I did. I didn't want to tattoo the guy they brought in front of me at all.
The black and gray Day of the Dead girl one.
Yeah, well, it wasn't a Day of the Dead girl. I did the skull on him, but he was such a difficult canvas to work with.
He did say, unless you want to share the $100,000.
Yeah, that infuriated me. What also infuriated me, though, was, and it never got told, was that I told him, he asked me about healing. Well, he didn't say healing. He actually said he was a wrestler. He wrestled in tights in a wrestling match. He's a professional wrestler. Is that the right? I don't know. I call it wrestling. He's a wrestler, and so he wears like a lucha libre mask when he wrestles, and he has 2 Arabic swords on it, 2 scimitars, and he just wanted 2 scimitars on top of this skull, and we had to go back and forth so much that he eventually said that to me, that unless you're planning on sharing the 100,000 with me. And so then as I finished the tattoo, though, he says, what should I do this weekend while I'm wrestling so that the tattoo doesn't get hurt? And I said, wrestling? I said, well, you shouldn't wrestle. And he said, no, that's not an option. And I says, no, what are you talking about? And then we figured out he was going to wrestle in 2 more days. And that's one of the worst times to really be doing anything like that. And there was no control he had. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the tattoo's got to heal, and then it's got to peel. You got to put the ointment on. Like any roughness or rubbing against it, it's not going to heal well.
Yes. And so then when I seen him at the same night I met you, I seen him outside of the line because he was into the finale as well. He was a contestant, not a contestant. He participated in a former challenge there too, where he got a gun stock for one of his rifles, and Tattoo Baby did the gun stock. If you remember the dog face one that they weren't very impressed with, he got that. And so he was never that happy with his what he got there. But when I seen him at the line, he asked me to touch it up. And I said, yeah, no problem. We set up a date to touch it up. I was coming out to New York to do some tattooing in Westchester Tattoo Convention. And then, we sent him how much we figured it would be. And he got mad and said that the tattoo should be free. And I said, my hotel's not free. I got to go out there and eat. We're talking about New York prices. So then he said, I have other ways to make you tattoo me. And that was the last I had ever heard from him on the email. But when they got a hold of me for the Redemption series, I had an idea it was going to be him because of the way he left that. You know, he must have been talking with them at the time about getting on there. And then he felt that he was being nice to me, I think, by giving me the chance to touch it up. But what he was really doing was trying to keep a power over top of me, I felt. He was either going to have the power of trying to humiliate me on live TV or on TV, not live TV, or he was going to have the power of getting me to continue this tattoo that I've got invested in him, that he screwed up in the first place, and then did a bad heel on with no regard for how my work would look, and then prepare to shame me for how that work was poorly taken care of on TV if I didn't go ahead and tattoo him again for free. So I was crazy mad. But luckily they love Crazy Mad Kyle on the show. I think that's all they want to see anymore. So they got what they wanted. And I go away looking like a bit more of a dick, but I'm used to it. I always look like a dick.
The other time you came on Redemption was when Josh confronted his also black and gray Day to Dead Girl canvas with the lady face and the soldier's cross, the flag, and the boots.
Yep. I kind of liked that tattoo originally, really. And, you know, the Redemptions were funny because people would come on there. They weren't so mad about their tattoos a lot of times. They really just wanted another tattoo. And they had to be mad about their tattoo to get a tattoo. So it kind of set up a really bad scenario for all the artists that were coming back to get, air quotes again, redemption. That the person wasn't so mad about the tattoo. Oftentimes they liked it. The judges might not have liked it, or the canvas jury might not have liked it, but they a lot of times didn't have a problem with it. They just simply wanted another free tattoo. So the producers reached out to them, asked them if they could be angry at us, and then if the angriest you could get on the show if you're angry, you know. Would you ever be a human canvas on the show Ink Master?
Oh, hell yeah.
You would, even after seeing all the bad tattoos that have been done too.
Well, the crew's known me for so many years, and with how many years I've dedicated my life to this competition, and knowing that it's going to come back soon, hopefully this year. I mean, I don't know the timing. Like,
right?
They would have to invite me, and
do you feel that they would look out for you?
I'm triple vax, so I wouldn't have a problem showing them my vaccine certificate.
And you feel like they would take good care of you.
There are other fans of the show, whether they were canvassers or not, they would try to help me get on there because, like, they do know I am the #1 super fan.
Yes. Do you feel then that because there is always the worry of going on the show, you're going to get a bad tattoo? Some people get bad tattoos.
Whether it's a good or a bad tattoo, I would at least enjoy the experience. And
right.
And I sit like a rock, so I would take the pain. And I didn't tell you too. You were talking about free tattoos. I actually got the compass rose that Angel gave me in September for free.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'm going to point out it might make me look like a bit more of a hard ass, I guess. Because I don't like to give out free tattoos, but to someone like yourself, I can completely understand that. With the relationship that me and the curtain jerker had, the jabroni there had, it wasn't going to work out very well. If you were a human canvas, who you would probably want to come on later on in the episodes, though, right? You don't want to be there the first day when some of the worst people.
I'm totally flexible, whether it's early in the competition, middle of the competition, or late in the competition. I'm all game.
Oh, wow. Because would you ever get to say that you got a acid cat from someone like Roland on the first day? Would you get it covered up, or would you keep the acid cat as it was?
Oh, I would cover it up.
Okay. Right
That
on.
acid cat from season 4 was so horrible. It was really hard to look at.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know. You know what? The one thing that I never got to see any of the rooms where Nunez and Dave Navarro and Ali and them where they hung out. Um, Others did, but I never got to see it. But I did get to see the office that was right before those rooms, and in that they had no tattoos up, only a couple of pictures of a couple of of us contestants, but then they did have one picture of that acid cat. So it must have been memorable somehow, because it was the only art that was in that room was an acid cat picture. My wife and I used to have a T-shirt of that too. I hope Roland ends up making it again, because that was an awesome, awesome T-shirt. Did you ever get a chance to meet Roland?
No.
Oh, right on. Too bad. He's an awesome kid. He's an awesome guy. Once we start traveling again, right now he's working on Virgin Voyages. He gets to go out and tattoo people on the ocean.
Yeah, I've seen posts about that. You guys tattoo on a cruise ship and sail and tattoo away at the same time. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, yeah. On a wavy ocean, how bad could that be? Let's do something with a lot of straight lines. Sounds like a good time to do a geometric tattoo.
That you did in season 4.
Yep. Yes, I did. What's the
It was the first tattoo of the day win that season, because what happened after the eyeball challenge, testing dimension.
Yep. They weren't happy with what I did. You know, I look back on that tattoo and I still don't dislike that eyeball tattoo though. I think I needed to saturate a few areas a bit more. By still talking with the artist or the kid that got it, we're still happy with it. We like that kind of gore. And to me, you could see the dimension because you could see the scalpel sticking in the eye. But I guess everybody doesn't like to look at stuff like that. Makes them think about scalpels in the eye, I guess. What's your favorite episode
From any season?
from any season? Well, I'm guessing it's probably from season 13, right? Wasn't that your favorite? No, season 12. That was your favorite season.
Wow, that's a tough one. Favorite episode from season 12?
Sure. Too many good episodes to.
Yeah, too many good episodes.
Well, good. Let's not talk about that because I wasn't on that season anyways. So let's talk about 3 and 4. What do you have any insight? You know, I of course I was right there and I was subjective to it, and sometimes, especially for me, when you're subjected to it, you don't really see it really, you know, the way it really is. You see it differently. And so I have one opinion of it, and I'm always interested to hear other people's visions that they saw, you know, or their perspectives.
Well, like here's the thing, like when you see them on camera when the episode's being aired, like you do see the drama, but when they post stuff, you know, behind the scenes or outside the cameras, they have to realize, you know, they're such good buddies to hang out with, and you know, it's unfortunate that they have to compete against each other, but at the end of the day, you know, this competition has been such a huge family.
Yeah. You know, I don't know that we didn't feel like family necessarily at first when you get there.
Oh, there was a lot of rivalry in season 3 for sure.
Yep. Yep. There was a lot of from my perspective, there were cliques that started to form, and definitely a hierarchy for those that thought they were at the top of the clique. If you found like was it Joey and Jimmy and Craig Foster all hung out very closely together during that, and it was kind of like there was the cool kids, you know, crew, and then the rest of us. Did that come across at all?
I think the Cool Kids Club was more commonly known in season 9 with Unkindness Art and Allegory Arts and April and Dange. shop. Artistic skin design.
I got to be honest. I think I've probably told everybody here before it. I had too much trauma. One day I'm going to need to go back and watch these episodes, but I really haven't watched but a couple of episodes after season 4. It took me a while to even finish watching season 4, even though I had friends on there. Somewhere inside of me, although I protest and act like I'm a big tough guy, is a little scared child that doesn't like to go out into the real world. So I avoided that, and I'm sorry not to be able to talk to you more about the Cool Kids Club. But then I'm guessing then you didn't notice it in season 3 from your perspective and what made it on air. You didn't notice any kind of click like that developing.
No, not at the time. And after season 3, that's when I started joining Twitter. And after season 4, I started joining Instagram.
Okay. How'd you feel about Tattoo Baby as a recurring contestant? Do you feel that she was fairly treated? Do you feel like they're a little bit hard on her? How do you feel?
I think she was treated fairly. You know, the point where she almost wanted to go home after the pinup challenge, you know, it's tough for a lot of artists because, you know, they leave their businesses, they leave their families and their kids and shops and their livelihoods at home. You know, it's tough on them.
Yes, I know. I know very well. I felt like at the time seeing it, I felt like they were being very easy on it. And then when I experienced it myself in season 4, I felt like they were being overly harsh on me as compared to how they were to her.
Yeah, they definitely were overly harsh on you in season 4. You know, particularly, you know, with the aquatic challenge testing placement, you did that cool sea turtle.
I thought it was cool too. Thank you. Yeah, they really hated it. And that baseball player, I don't know, he's probably really good at throwing balls or catching balls. I don't know.
I don't remember his name, but I think he was a pitcher for the Yankees.
It's probably really good. And he'd probably be able to beat my ass, but thankfully, if I ever got him to listen to this, actually, that would be the highlight of the viewership of this podcast. So I really get to talk as much smack against him anyways. But I didn't. Sometimes they would have judges on like him. And I didn't understand why they were there, because you may be able to throw a baseball really good, but looking at your tattoos, which you have plenty of, you clearly don't know how to pick a good tattoo. And then for him to Monday quarterback my tattoo without from a spot of ignorance, I kind of went off on him a bit, and they didn't show it. I feel like sometimes they would miss some of the better drama, but now I realize the reason they wouldn't show that is they wouldn't have allowed anybody to talk bad to this guy who's coming out, this star. You know what I mean? Because they have to treat the stars really good. You wouldn't be able to talk smack to Hugh Jackman too and be like, you kind of sucked in Les Miserables. I'm telling you, man, just between you and me.
I've watched Les Miserables.
It's a good show, actually, isn't it?
It's a movie.
Well, yeah, it's also it was a play for several years, right? At Broadway there.
Well,
How do you think?
Let me ask you this, and not to put this in a personal level. Do you still think about that moment? What happened before the negative space flash challenge with the gunpowder? Like, does that go through your head every single day?
Not every single day, but that day really didn't bother me. I mean, it doesn't look good, but I'm not a person who worries, I guess, about how I come off looking to people as much as I care about how I feel about my actions. And I know where I was at, and to me, all that was a justified reaction to getting treated with bias that I know was unfair. If I do good with criticism, as they were showing, if he was like, you got to be hard on Kyle so he does good, but then every single time he judges me, he tells me I'm doing bad. but then he still is hard on me to make me do good. I didn't understand that came to be crazy, you know, because he's repeating the same procedure, expecting a different result. But if Melissa did good with chocolate cake, you're going to show up to the set with chocolate cake tomorrow? You know, if I really do good, you're almost being unfair to the other contestants. If I do good with all this negativity, but so I don't feel bad as much about that. I do feel bad about not being able to address his when the judges talk to you, you're always being careful of how you fight back, of the things that you would say back to them, because you don't want to make them mad, because they will be biased against you. And you also don't want to make them, you don't want to, well, that's just it. They have that power over you. So if they say something that is not true, you have to be careful how you word it. We watched Made Rich went home on the day that he told the judges that he tried to dumb the tattoo down.
The Asian tattoos testing detail. Yeah, nobody got tattoo of the day. Like, it was a bloodbath.
Yes, they were very, very, yes, it was terrible. It wasn't very nice to any of us. But when he said he tried to dumb the tattoo down in his response to their criticism of his tattoo, they all kind of, you could see it on their eyes. It registered like, oh, he's going home. And it was a severed samurai head being held by a geisha or a samurai warrior. It just didn't read as appealing to me. No, tattoo wasn't done the greatest, and he could have gone home, and he justifiably could have gone home. It made sense that he might go home. He was doing a style that he wasn't familiar with so much too. But when he said, dumb it down, their eyes all widened and their nostrils flared. And we knew without a doubt he was going home, if you follow me. And so you're careful how you respond to them. But I wish on other occasions I had responded, that I had fought maybe more vehemently or more passionately for my tattoo. And that, I feel like on the Turtle Day that you were talking about, I feel like I wish I had fought a little bit more for that tattoo's acceptance, because where they pointed out that there wasn't detail in some of these fish, I purposely didn't want detail in those fish because I didn't want to steal from the detail that I put in the turtle. I wasn't trying to make my foreground look more detailed than my. You
wanted the turtle to be the focal point and just the fish to be
afterthoughts.
Yeah.
Now I it could be a mistake here or there, but I've always done tattoos as progression. Like, I've never seen a tattoo that I thought was done today. Like, I always feel that I'll probably come back and do more work around it, or make this one tattoo eventually into a full sleeve by adding things to it. So I didn't feel the necessity like they felt I should feel to finish everything so detailed. But at the same time, I didn't have enough time. That was a big tattoo.
Yeah, all those Asian tattoos from season 3, they looked like 10 to 12-hour tattoos.
On that day, I got to tattoo Jimmy Smith. Is that right? And I did or did I do a different Asian tattoo?
Like,
must have been season 4.
You did one of those in the season 3. You did one of those like Asian deities, and she had like 6 arms and lots of jewelry.
Okay, yeah, the Shiva. Yep. Okay, that was it. That's when I tattooed Jimmy Smith. He now is the commentator for WWE Monday Night Raw.
Oh, right. Yeah, there must have been at least a Bellator fighter from that challenge.
Yep. There was Frank Trigg, who was a Bellator fighter, and now he is a referee inside of the UFC and other. He's refereeing other MMA bouts now. Frank Twinkle Toes Trigg. He used to work commentating for Pride, and when he came on, I recognized him right away because I've always been a lover of fights. And then I kind of recognized Jimmy Smith because I watched the show he was on, Fight Quest, but I didn't quite know him as much. I was pretty scared that if I messed up Twinkle Toes tattoo, he would beat my ass. So, and I knew that there would be more judgment on the Asian tattoo because he wanted an Asian tattoo, and he got a beautiful tattoo that I think could have won easily, but they beat it up because they didn't find it Asian enough. And so, to me, it was a smart choice to take Jimmy Smith and do the Asian tattoo, but it was
didn't Jimmy Litwalk get that canvas? You assigned the skulls that.
Yep. Challenge. Yeah, I signed the skulls. No, I gave Craig Foster the tattoo because
it was Asian doves.
Yes. Yep.
And I gave it to Craig Asian Foster. Doves.
I felt that Craig Foster was the best tattoo artist there, and that if I ever ran into Craig or Twinkle Toes Trigg, Frank Twinkle Toes Trigg, if I ever ran into Frank again and he wanted to beat my ass, I could easily say he was the best artist there. You can't be mad at me, So, but I didn't realize who Jimmy was, and Jimmy could have easily crushed me as well. He's quite a experienced Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighter, and multi MMA fighter as well. He's actually traveled across the world and been beat up by black belts on almost every continent except Antarctica. But I digress. You got to watch all of my breakdown, so I got to apologize. Did any of it not make sense to you? Did you wish that I'd performed differently? You asked me if I wish I'd performed, but do you wish I had done anything differently?
Wow, that one is a toughie.
Don't worry about hurting my feelings. I've got a thick skin.
I think a little more emotional control would have been beneficial, just because being in an angry state that you were, I think it would really affect judgment and thought processing, which kind of might have resulted with what had happened before that negative space flash challenge.
They asked me if I wanted to come back after I got in that fight.
Didn't you say at one point that one of the judges filed a restraining order on you?
No, they didn't.
Oh, that was a joke? Okay.
No, it may have been more. I have prior assault convictions or charges, usually pled down. I have an assaulting a police officer charge that was also pled down. But all these things show up when they're processing you and when they're figuring out how much jail time you get. And so I knew it wouldn't look good to have some more assault. I may have mentioned something like that at one point, but no, I've never got a restraining order, thankfully. Actually, Nunez, I think, wanted to fight me easily as much as I might have wanted to fight him. But in my, I think in my rash of thinking there, you got a real good point. Because if I had stayed, I think the storyline was about to change. And I think I was supposed to make it to the finale on the stage because it makes the most sense. However, I also was being angered because of that. As I recognized that they may actually want me on the stage and they might carry me all the way, beating me up the whole time just so that they could make a more conflict-driven finale, it made me mad that my work and effort meant little in comparison to their need for a storyline that was compelling. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the way I saw it. Like it as I realized that even if I were to finish and that I were on the stage as a finalist, I began to realize that meant the show was also staged and not a fair representation of a competition, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that when you're in that, I mean, that kind of hurts you, because then you think all the wins that you won, that those weren't good, fair wins. And you think of all the losses that you've lost, and you think, well, those weren't fair losses. You don't really know what to think anymore, and you feel subjected to somebody else's whims. And I didn't want to be part of their whims anymore. And I had a lot of problems going back home. My dog was dying. I missed him. And my wife's car was driving around Michigan without any heat, because she didn't know how to fix the bypass. in it, things that I can fix, but I can't fix when I'm in New Jersey. And all these problems just flared up at one night, and I didn't have the best control over my emotions, for sure. And I actually asked for help from the production, but they shut me down like sometimes people do. Like when you say, no, I need something because I really want to do violent things to people. And they don't want to imagine that. So they create their own imaginary world where you didn't really mean what you said. And they're like, yeah, but you're joking, right? Okay, yeah, I'm joking. I don't know. I think they wanted me to go crazy, but they didn't want me to go that crazy. However, after I got in a fight with them, the executive producer, Andrea Richter, she got in the van with me. The van was going back home, back to the warehouse. And it was either going to go back there and I was going to get ready for the next day of filming, or it was going to go back there and I was going to go to a hotel and leave. And she asked me how I felt about that, because it wasn't determined at that moment whether or not I was going to be kicked off the show. And I considered it for a minute. I thought, you're crazy. Like, are you kidding me? I get to come back? Why would you let me come back? I've watched The Challenge, and anytime anybody even comes close to punching somebody, TJ Lavin, he sends those people home. And I just got in a physical altercation with this guy. What do you mean I could come back? She said she would have to clear it with the executives, meaning the corporate, but that she would work on that. And I think, in hindsight, I think that meant, moreover, that they had an intention to treat me rough purposefully to help build drama for the storyline. And then they wanted to have me on stage in the finale so that drama would make other people, would have interactive viewership. People would feel an invested interest in the finale. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. I mean, it was still an awesome finale to watch that season.
Yeah, you were there, weren't you?
No, I was at season 6. That was still season 4.
Okay. I must have been season 6 that I met you out there then. I thought I met you more than once. Have you ever gone to any of the villain arts or any of the tattoo conventions across the country?
No, but I'm intimidated to go to one someday.
Intimidated, like you're scared to go one, or you mean to go to one?
Meant to go to one.
Oh, awesome. I hope that these restrictions do get cleared up so that we can travel back and forth across that border a little bit easier.
Well, right now we're having issues with that because there are trucker convoy protesters on some Canadian provinces that are blocking the border and going crazy with the vaccine mandates and restrictions, and they're not really going about this in a systematic way.
Alas, this is the problem. I don't know what to say. Except sometimes I might apologize. We don't do things the best ways down here. We don't like to. We stomp around more like children and tell them, "You're messing with my rights." Yeah, well, every time I leave you in the room by yourself with all your friends, you keep having pillow fights and you knock the lights off the ceiling. Now I got to come and clean up glass. What's that? Oh, they're Canadian truckers? Ooh, I thought they were American truckers. I'm sorry. I also stay out of the news because all of it makes me hey, you remember how I was with Nunez? All of that stuff seems to make me like that sometimes. So the news makes me crazy. But these are Canadian truckers that are stopped at the border then.
Yeah. I don't know, like the whole pandemic has just turned this world upside down over the past 2 years. And I understand that people are angry and frustrated and upset, but you can't let your guard down. Like, these vaccines will save you and masks will save you, but people are just too fed up with it and they're just taking it too far.
Yeah, I think there's a push for everything that you do. So if there's any force, there will be an equal and opposite resistance. And so you have to really be careful with how you use that force, depending on how you want to meet that resistance. It's amazing to me the vaccination rate in your country and also in like Europe, where there wasn't such a need for vaccine mandates, that people just voluntarily got them. But anyways, Candy says, "Hey, that's boring, Kyle." So she wants me to wrap that part up. And what is the name of your blog and where would I find that?
You mean my Instagram account or?
Oh, I thought you had a blog too.
No, my Instagram page is my blog.
Okay, yeah. What is your Instagram page?
It's still the same, Derek_rocks514.
Oh, I'm just plugging it. I apologize. It might seem curious why I asked for these things. I guess now I think about this situation. Moreover, I just really want to give you the opportunity to plug it so we can get as many people to that as possible. If anybody's listening to this and it's because they're interested in Ink Master. So they'll probably definitely want to check out, your Instagram page and follow you. So hopefully you'll get some more followers out of this or something, grow some popularity. And once you grow that popularity, that's when they can't deny you. Then they will call you and they will say, "Derek, please come on. We need you to be a judge. We kicked Navarro off. We are like, screw that guy. All he does is want to play the guitar and bang the canvases all the time." So we want to have somebody on.
If Ink Master wants me to host this show, sign me up.
That's what we're working on. I think we can do it. You, me, a few of the listeners here, we're just going to petition Derek needs to host this show.
And go on Wheel of Fortune somehow, because if you've seen my Instagram stories, I could solve puzzles in a flash.
Do you ever watch the challenge, MTV's challenge? I noticed they have a lot of puzzles on there.
I don't really go on MTV much.
Okay. And would you ever think about being a tattoo artist yourself?
Tempting, but no. I just chose, to go in a more of a science route because I like challenges, and science is a challenge and like a puzzle, and that's why I have my chemistry degree.
Oh, right on. I didn't even know. I should have asked. I didn't know you had a degree. How many years of degree? We're not a doctorate yet, though, or are we? Do I get to call you Dr. Paradise?
No, I wasn't going to be a doctorate.
Right on. You should think about it, because then if you just put an E on the end of your name, you're Dr. Paradise. And I don't know if there ain't a better name for an Ink Master host than that. It's like, listen, if I'm trying to sell this, we have David Navarro. Oh, yeah, what's he do? He plays guitar in some band we've never heard of. And then we have Dr. Paradise. Ooh, Dr. Paradise? Who is this character? I'm curious. You sparked my interest, Dr. Paradise. I mean, Who doesn't love Paradise? And he's a doctor of it? Yeah, doctor. You could be a master Paradise too eventually if you kept on going for it, right? I don't know. PhD Paradise don't sound as cool, but it does have at least the alliteration. You know, the PPs, the PhD Paradise. Ooh,
Yeah, I can see the resemblance.
Yeah, I don't know why I suddenly imagined those Dr. Paradise. It seems like a guy who has a small person with him, who maybe named Tattoo, who's always being like, "Look at us, the plane," and and he's like, "Yes, it is the plane. It is time. It is time. It is time for me to host Ink Master." Season 3,499, which isn't, I know, a number, but oh wait, no, it is. I tried to mess up the number and I actually got one right. But how long do you think, if it comes back, do you think that there will be a former contestant or Ink Master winner that would be the third judge that would take Oliver's spot? Who do you think it would be?
Wow. That'd be hard to choose from.
I keep thinking Clean is an obvious choice to replace Ollie. I mean, if you look at Clean.
Well, he was a judge in the grudge match series, so.
Okay, yeah. And he's interesting. He's got color commentary, which is what Ollie was. They had Nunez was the Simon Cowell, the asshole, if you will. Excuse my language. And then Navarro was the sexy voice of reason, right? And then Ollie was the crazy the carny ride operator of the group, you know? And yeah. I think Clean fills that spot, especially you've seen him as of late. He even looks like Ollie on, you know, with a couple hundred extra pounds. His hair is long like his, and he's always wearing trucker hats. All he's missing is the mustache, the Yosemite Sam mustache, and then he can go on there.
Yeah.
However, as I think that, I also have to temper the idea with what I know that they strove for throughout the casting. They really wanted to have a large viewing audience that is female. It's almost over 60% female, if I'm not mistaken. So I think they would probably want to have a female. And at that point, I think Ryan Ashley, of course. But I would almost be more interested to see Kelly Doty on there. Your thoughts?
Well, I've met both Kelly and Ryan in person, and I wasn't even nervous talking to them. Like, I was just really in my comfort zone. And, you know, meeting them in person, that was such an exciting honor because I've looked up to their work.
So, well, are you telling me then that you're scared to make this choice? You don't want to piss anybody off. You know, I probably will try and make sure they hear. But I'm gonna put you on the hot seat, man. Which one of them do you pick as the replacement for Ollie, given those two as the choice?
Kelly.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say neither one again, and I was ready to move on. I was like, all right, too much pressure. I feel like Kelly too, because I feel like Kelly's she's got that smart mouth kind of a little bit more, you know, a little bit of sass that Ink Master needs. Is that, what's your reason for thinking Kelly?
Well, she has a way of how she phrases stuff.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Ryan Ashley, not that I wouldn't take anything away from her, but I just feel like Kelly's got that unique perspective. Who else would it be, though, out of all the Ink Masters before? Would you think of anybody? I've suggested both Clean, Kelly, and Ashley. Who do you think you would like to see there if they don't choose you as the judge to replace Ollie?
Laura, season 12 winner, or Jimmy Snaz from seasons 11 and 13.
I have not met Laura at all. I have met Snaz, and he is awesome. He's a great tattoo artist and just an awesome dude, an all around great personality too. So,
Yeah,
Laura's
and
cool too.
he had a very fashionable habit, especially during turf war.
A fashion of what? Being fashionable?
Yeah, the
Well, that's
USA
a fashion,
pants
I
and the
guess.
snakeskin pants, like was that was quite a fashion trend.
Right on. Yeah, some people can pull that stuff off, and some people can't. Snaz is one of those guys who, like Randy Macho Man Savage, has the ability.
Well,
Not many other people. Have you ever put on a pair of rattlesnake pants, run out the house just to go do some grocery shopping yourself, or?
I probably wouldn't want to try.
How many rattlesnake pants do you own?
0.
Okay, right on. That's the same number that I have. Snaz, though, how many do you think he's got in that wardrobe of his? I bet Snaz and Kelly Dottie.
He must have had at least 2, because Frank also wore that same snakeskin pants in the versatility challenge.
Oh wow! I guess I didn't realize. Again, I should probably watch these things. They're entertaining. I've had a hard time listening to the judges because when I hear the judges, it really has a trauma that makes it harder for me to tattoo confidently. And of course, my job is to tattoo confidently. And so a lot of my work as an artist since the show has kind of been stealing the power that I gave those guys over me, stealing it back. You know, I mean, they're in my head sometimes. It's sad to say or admit, but and they can really mess with your ability if you're, as an artist, you tattoo on your confidence. And so when that's weakened, it can show. So I really avoid watching the shows. I didn't get to see Snaz in his pants. What I've loved is traveling the country and then meeting people who, you know, are introduced to me as being on the show. And I feel kind of kinship, and they're always good personalities. And then, you know, I've loved getting to know these people just on a personal level, but unfortunately, I'd never really know them from the show. But thankfully, none of them know me from the show too. I'm worried that they would, because they're like, "Yeah, man, I gotta admit, man, I never used to watch the show until I was on." And I'll be like, "Oh, you didn't miss anything. You didn't need to see me on my worst day ever." You know, that is probably the worst part. In kind of an answer to your before about how I act, and I feel that I should have probably had more emotional control that day, because when people see me now and they recognize me, there is that, you know, there is that imagination or that idea of that guy is not in control at all times. So,
well,
but
live and learn. That's what they always say.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been hesitant to learn. I'm 50 now, and it's still, well, almost 50 now. I think at the point that you're at as close to 50 as I am, you just start saying it ahead of so that when it finally happens, you're not like, you know, just so that you're prepared. You know, it's not like, damn it, I'm 50. Oh, didn't know. Well, Derek, I think I've stayed too long and said too much. So, which is my sign off, is really what I got to say before you're just like, wow, Kyle just abruptly ended that. What a dick. But
I wouldn't go like too far there, but
okay. But that's my side. So I've developed that. Actually, I didn't develop it. Gentle J gave it to me as the best gift ever. Which I should ask you. I want to ask you, how do your feelings on Gentle J? And when he brought the papers up that showed that Scott was kind of copying off of Google, did you have any feeling on that day?
that was probably going to be a losing battle.
Yeah, I think it was. He obviously, because Scott won. So
No, Maddie won that challenge. Detail Warriors.
oh yeah, yes, but I mean,
Nobody went home that day.
Scott won the overall.
Yeah, Scott won the overall battle, and yeah, Gentle Jay was just basically shooting a bullet that missed the target by a mile.
Yeah, he feels that he was kind of set up by other people who didn't have the courage to point that out. So like because other people were coming to him and showing it to him, then he was the one that kind of was tasked with turning it in.
Yeah, that was an unnecessary thing to do, and really, even if it was true, he wasn't going to win that one.
Oh, it was true. Well, do I know? I guess I wasn't there, but
you weren't
I
there.
was
It was
there
the final
prior.
6.
I know I was there prior to that though, and Jim Francis had pointed out to us that Scott was using material that he had already had in his portfolio, and it was already used. So it wasn't a hard assumption to imagine that he was also using Google. The rest of us had to use Getty Images, and it was a real a hindrance because Getty is not nearly as searched or as good as Google for sourcing tattoos. But Scott was kind of using Google, and I don't know. To us, we probably all should have realized we could have colored outside of the lines, with that rule. But those of us that were adhering to it, or like myself, that were just trying to draw everything, those of us that were doing that, we felt a honor system almost, something that was different from season 3 and 4. Actually, when season 4 was more about the game and more about Ink Master as a reality show competition with alliances and things like that. And season 3 more had secret alliances or had I don't know, they were all working to be the best. It was stated many times, everybody said it there, that they wanted to attack everybody at their best because if they won and when they won, they wanted to feel like they competed against the best, like they deserved it.
Well,
and then
season 3, you did say to Josh that you were apologizing for, how he was trying to play the game and, with the whole instigator thing. And, then you and Josh worked together in the proportion flash challenge where you guys tattooed each other. You did the crossblade and Josh did the hands with the paintbrush.
Yeah.
And you guys also won a trip to Germany for the Jägermeister thing.
Well, yeah, we were supposed to. We just took the money instead. Took the money and we didn't want to travel together. We couldn't bring our wives, and it just seemed like
sounded like that
time.
moment. It sounded like that moment you wanted to be in a secret alliance with Josh.
Well, I think at that moment I recognized that everybody was playing, despite all the honor that was amongst us, and that I tried to show when I was handing out when I was handing out trophies, I did exactly as everybody had been talking about, wanting to meet everybody on their best. And so I handed out things to everybody that would allow them to showcase themselves, except for Joshua Hibbert. And then I got people angry at me. Jimmy was mad because I gave him 2 subjects instead of 1. And I gave Jason Clay Dunn the dragon when he wanted the dragon, and then he didn't do a good dragon, so he wasn't happy with the choice I gave him. But and then when it was time to have that reciprocated, Jason Clay Dunn gave me a very challenging tattoo on the Coliseum.
Yeah, Dimension, the realistic landmarks.
Yeah, it was.
It seemed like he wanted to stir the pot, and you did a good tattoo that challenge.
Yeah, they still beat it up.
Joey did a good Golden Gate Bridge tattoo as well.
Oh yeah, it definitely deserved to win. I liked it more than my own. I should have had some clouds or something in there, but I just didn't have enough time to do that great big tattoo. I'm faster now. I probably could nowadays, but it all changes, What's that?
Well, there were some landmarks that challenged that weren't really 6 hours, like the Grand Canyon that Jimmy did, or Mount Rushmore that Tattoo Baby did, because doing 4 faces, it's like 4 times the amount of detail, and trying to do each face in an hour and a half is impossible.
Yeah, they picked off some rough ones, all of them. I think the Mount Rushmore, maybe if we're changed in the size, but no, you're absolutely right. And the Grand Canyon, that was just an unfortunate one because you just don't even know how to make that look good. Like it's just, I don't know where it goes on the body properly. There's no defined anything to it, nothing to really outline, no real subject matter. It's just landscape. But the Coliseum probably should have had some clouds in it. Who is it? I think they told me a tree or something too, and they were all right. They should have had something, but I digress. What was your what's your favorite of any time that I was on? Like season 3 or 4. What was your favorite episode or challenge?
Wow. Season 3 and 4?
Yes, sir. If you
Wow.
want to do
Season 4, I think my favorite challenge was probably the lettering with the adaptability. The lettering tattoos.
was that on the
Adaptability, that was season 4.
Yes, I can't even remember what I did, but I do. Yes, there was the bird in the cage that Maddie did. That was pretty. He was having a bad day, and then there was the triumph that Scott did that they liked that had blown out lines and
Illegible?
you couldn't. Yeah, it was illegible. Did he win that one?
No, that was Halo.
Oh, he had that beautiful dog and that great lettering too. Boy, that was beautiful. That's who I thought should have won that whole season was Halo.
Halo?
I was surprised they sent him home when he did. I didn't see it. What's your opinion?
It was a really close battle because all 4, they were pretty much the only ones who have won flash challenges and elimination tattoos put together.
Right. And
favorite challenge from season 3. Wow. I think the funniest one would be with the barcodes.
Oh God. Yeah.
You guys had to set up your
challenge.
machines and then tattoo a barcode testing lines.
Yeah. And then they actually, on that episode, they pumped in a bunch of sound of a bad running machine. Like for Joshua Hibbert, his machine didn't sound like pure as hell.
No, it sounded like a propeller.
Well, I believe that was a sound that they added, and it wasn't really. I don't know that his machine was running so great, and then they made it look like I didn't know what I was doing because I was joking around and says I don't know how to do this or something like, and they made it look like I didn't know what I was doing. That bothered me. That day they also gave everybody the wrong tools to put the machines together. They had a star bit or a Torx bit, they call it, for the coils, and they gave us Allen screws to put the machine together, so we couldn't use it. I started taking apart my other machines and using my parts to fix that machine, and then after I got it together, they got the Torx bits and they didn't stop the time. So then I was like, well, am I going to be like, they told us we were being judged on the machine and how it ran after we put it together. And I was like, am I going to be judged bad for using my parts on this machine? And they said they couldn't tell me. And so I worried about that. I took so I took the time to take my coils screws back out and use their screws, thinking that it might be a problem. And I think that cost me some of my time for sure.
Well, Well, most of you put the machine together and did tattoo. Only a couple
Mhm.
couldn't. Couple
Yeah,
people
even
couldn't put their
Tattoo
machine
Baby broke
together.
her nails off. I think it was Allie. I don't know if she was
She
able to get her
didn't. She
machine with
didn't.
her.
She didn't put her machine together. When she tried to
Yeah.
assemble it, it broke.
Right. Yep. Yep. I think it was something with the coils, the coil wire. Sometimes those things are fragile. But
Yeah.
thank God nowadays we use.
Yeah, and then the elimination tattoo with the Celtic, that seemed like more of a nightmare.
Was that on that same day? Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be line work, wouldn't it? Yep.
Yeah,
And that was
lines going over and under each other, overlapping, underlapping.
that's the part they gave me a hard time with because they said they didn't line up enough. I liked it though. It was a pretty tattoo. The lady that day gave me a book, which I read and I'm happy she gave me, called The Art of Happiness, about the Dalai Lama. She said, "You're not going to be offended if I give you something, will you?" It's like, what? She's like, it just helps. I think she was a psychologist, possibly even. So,
Well, like you were about to say, nowadays, now the tattoo machines are wireless and battery operated.
yes, and rotary machines, which I love so much more than those coil machines, that really were great, but they took a real finesse and they were limited to how they would work. Then a coil machine doesn't have as much versatility as a rotary machine. A single coil machine, I should say, because I don't mean coil machines, but who wants to walk around with 8 coil tattoo machines every time they leave the door? Like Oliver. It's like, man, that must be heavy. I would have thought his arms were bigger.
Flexibility, cover-ups in the critique. Mystical Mike was like, I don't know if anybody knows, but I only had one tattoo machine to work with for the entire tattoo. And the judge is like, you only have one tattoo machine? That's all I had. Wait, I'm confused. You only have one tattoo machine? I don't ever leave my house with 8 machines minimum. How do you come to a tattoo competition with a machine? That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. He really wanted to talk about his ex-girlfriend throwing his machines away, and that all got edited out. But actually, he had 2 machines. One was a Stigma and the other was a Hawk. But I think what he meant to say was not one machine, but actually one needle, because he only used a 7 mag throughout that whole tattoo. But he probably should have used more needles and might have looked a little better too. You should never have an excuse for your tattoo. You know, if you have an excuse, you should fix that. And that shouldn't be your excuse ever again.
Yeah, that cover-up challenge in season 3, your first season, I thought there was going to be no tattoo of the day because people said like they did do a cover-up, but it ended up looking like something else. But thankfully, Tattoo Baby took tattoo of the day, so that was relieving.
Well, it was a pretty tattoo with a broken finger, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all remember looking at that. She came up to me at one point while she was designing it, and she says, I don't know. I'm thinking about it. And you're competing, so you want to be careful about what you say to help anybody at any time. But she says, I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking something, maybe it doesn't look right. That's what she said to me. And I looked at it, and I saw that finger, and I was like, whoa, well, and then she says, does it look like I have her nose too small? And I was so happy that she said that instead of talking about the finger, because then I was able to say, well, what I know about a nose is it's got to be big enough to fit a finger. And she says, oh, yeah. And this one looked like it could fit the finger, so she was happy with it. She walked away. And she ended up winning, too. I should have probably been like, no, that nose is way too small, honey. You need a great big old honker on that thing. I met Tattoo Baby years before I was ever on that show. I'd met her in Miami working for a guy named Chico, who owns Chico's Marked for Life Tattoo in Miami. And he brought a lot of great tattoo artists into the industry. And I met her. Her name was Kat, and she was having to compete that day, because she was it was new for female tattoo artists. It's very easy for tattoo artists now that are females, or easier at least, because of the hard work that a lot of the people before them put in. So there was a time though that it wasn't very popular for women to be tattoo artists, and people didn't expect it. And this was one of those. At any rate, sorry to get off topic. I should wrap this up and let you get back off to whatever. Israel Adesanya is fighting Robert Whittaker here in a few hours, so I'm really excited about that. Are you going to be watching the fights tonight?
I'm probably gonna watch some hockey games or maybe watch a movie or something. I'll figure something out.
What team do you like in the hockey?
Montreal Canadiens, because that's where me and my family are from before we moved to Toronto.
All right, and you speak French then?
No.
Okay, right on. Just curious. I went up there. They look at you a little funny sometimes when you can't speak French. How do you guys feel about your pennies being robbed from you? They're stealing your pennies, Derek.
I don't have any feelings about that.
They're stealing your pennies, Derek. They're taking all your pennies. You're going to have no pennies left. How can you face the future without any pennies? You're going to be penniless. You're penniless and destitute. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. It was such an intrigue for me to go to Canada and find that there were no pennies. When I got change back, I felt like, hey, what you trying to steal from me, lady? You owe me a couple of pennies there. I'm doing the math. I know the way taxes work, but anyways, I digress. I should let you go. I really appreciate talking to you, and look forward to seeing you the next time that these travel restrictions get eased.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity for this podcast. It's been awesome.
Good. And let's work on the campaign to get you to be a judge or host or coach at the very least. And if not that, then fourth on the list, we'll get you on Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, send me a message or an email, because you already know what my email is, because you've sent me the link.
Well, I don't get to do casting. But yeah, sure, I will. We'll talk about it.
Thank you,
we'll
thank you very much, Kyle.
It.
And thank you, Candy, for sending me up.
No problem. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
All right. Thank you very much. Bye.